Good afternoon, my name is Chris Ochs, and today I'm going to be discussing a bit of a controversial subject with you, and that subject is stem cell research. We should, in my opinion, embrace it. My goal today is to explain the benefits of stem cell research and hopefully clear up any misconceptions you may have. Ladies and gentlemen, we are on the cusp of the next medical breakthrough. There are many benefits that come from stem cells, and we are just scratching the surface. For example, most of us know someone, be it a friend or family member, who has gone through or is in need of an organ transplant. Imagine if they no longer had to be placed on a waiting list, hopelessly waiting for a donor. And not just any donor, a specific match, so their body won't reject the transplant organ. And even when they do find a match, that person will still have to be on anti-rejection medications and immunosuppressants for the rest of their life. Now, these medications selectively block immune rejection for foreign tissue. But the problem is, over time, they are known to cause multiple long-term side effects, and many recipients find themselves in and out of the hospital frequently for repeated complications, operations, and drug modifications. For example, a person who receives a heart transplant will find themselves on a drug called cyclosporin, which over time is known to often cause cancer. The reason for this is because immunosuppressant medication weakens the immune system and cripples the body's surveillance function, which would normally eliminate the threat of any potential cancerous cells. Now imagine a day when a person is no longer put in a waiting list, waiting for a match, and on top of that is able to avoid any immunosuppressive drugs that cause these life-threatening side effects. Instead, they are grown, whatever organ they need from their own cells, their stem cells, and this organ is a perfect match, thus avoiding many of the complications we see today. The focus of the rest of my presentation today will be to briefly explain the differences between the highly debated embryonic stem cells and adult stem cells. I will also touch on the rapid advancements in stem cell therapy and how top athletes are already taking advantage of this and seeing results. And I will touch on what the overall benefits could be moving forward. Now, I know for many people, they hear stem cells and red flags go up, and that's okay. There's a good reason for this. But the research I'm focused on is not embryonic stem cells, which are the ones that are steeped in ethical and political debate in the U.S. and that we hear so much about. My focus instead will be on stem cells from adults, for namely those in need of treatment, therapy, and perhaps an organ transplant in the future. Now, you may ask, what is a stem cell? A stem cell is a generic cell that can make exact copies of itself indefinitely. It is a precursor cell that has the ability to make specialized cells for various tissues, such as heart, muscle, brain, and liver tissue. Stem cell research is expected to impact advances in curing diseases such as Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease, diabetes, spinal cord injuries, heart diseases, strokes, arthritis, and cancer. Now, the difference between the two is quite simple. Embryonic stem cells were initially thought to have the greatest promise. This is no longer the case. Controversy surrounds embryonic stem cells because it involves an unborn offspring in the process of development. Now, while this is an obvious concern, we can avoid using embryonic cells altogether. Stem cells can be taken from umbilical cords, the placenta, and amniotic fluid. In adults, it can be taken from tissues, organs, bone marrow, fat, regions of the nose, and even from cadavers up to 20 hours after death. The benefit of adult stem cells over embryonic stem cells is tissues derived from them are believed to be less likely to initiate any type of rejection after a transplantation. This is a significant advantage, as immune rejection can be circumvented only by the administration of immunosuppressive drugs currently. And as I mentioned earlier, these drugs may cause life-threatening side effects. It is very important to know that no human beings have ever been cured of a disease with embryonic stem cells, while adult stem cells, on the other hand, have already cured thousands. Because of the advancements in stem cell research, more and more professional athletes are turning to stem cell therapy for speedier, stronger recoveries. NFL running back Chris Johnson, also known as CJ2K, who previously was part of the Tennessee Titans and is now part of the New York Jets football team, just completed such a therapy. Last year, early in the season, he tore some meniscus in his knee and played through it for the rest of the season. Playing on the torn meniscus caused a lot further damage, and he lost a lot of cartilage in his knee because of it. Prior to his surgery, the doctor removed 60 milliliters of stem cells, roughly the volume of a shot glass, from bone marrow in his hip. Now, post-arthroscopic surgery, the concentrate of thousands of stem cells were injected directly into his knee joint. All signs are pointing to this being a very successful recovery. As training camp opened this summer, Chris Johnson was on the field, and as head coach, Coach Rex Ryan, put it, he was flying. Now, many other athletes have turned to this form of therapy. One such example that everyone may be more familiar with is Peyton Manning, who had the therapy to help recover from a neck injury that almost ended his career. This is just the beginning, as we may see the cutting-edge therapy become more and more mainstream. Stem cells could change many of our medical procedures today. They could be the next breakthrough in the medical field, just as the first heart transplant performed on December 3rd, 1967 was, and soon after that was the first artificial heart transplant performed in November of 1982. Now, while they both had complications, they were major medical feats at their time. Now, with the exponential knowledge technology grants us, we will soon look back on these procedures as archaic and rudimentary. I believe stem cells are the next step in medical evolution. They just may be the answer to curing diseases, replacing ailing organs, and for healing those recovering from injuries. With the advancement of medical technologies, think of our children and to the generations that follow. Wouldn't it be reassuring to have the option of knowing the availability of a cure, if needed, that is exactly specific for them? Wouldn't it make you sleep better at night knowing they will have an obtainable alternative if such a crisis arises? Having a little beautiful, magnificent one-year-old, I know I would. We must embrace stem cell research. It could be life-altering in the very near future. Thank you for your time today.